Hello friends, I wanted to make this video about contrast because I think it's really important. It's so easy to feel good when you're making breakthroughs that bring you a lot of clarity and help you to adjust your focus, excuse me, so that you are making a connection in your mind, but it also feels like it feels right in your heart, and you get it here, and it kind of feels like they're connected. And it's kind of like that merging feeling, like this is how you're supposed to feel. And then contrast can come along because it has something to show you. It's usually the little sticking points that trip you up along just in your life, right? In your experience. And for me, I can usually handle my own internal dialogue and my own internal stresses from situations that are outside of my control. And the thing that definitely seems to bring me the most contrast is my interactions with my partner, which isn't surprising. It's something that happens to most people who are in a relationship, right? Because they're your mirror. They help you see what you are projecting from your inner world, inner thoughts and feelings. That doesn't make it any easier when you're going through it and you're feeling triggered or angry or upset, any number of feelings that don't feel good. So that's that's a lot of how I spent my weekend. Most of Saturday, miscommunicating and arguing. And then Sunday was a good day, and then I felt compelled to let my pain body become activated over something that my partner said to me. A couple things that I just didn't feel were true. And it also started in this morning again. And it doesn't really matter. He has Asperger's. He has a negative anyways, in some of the ways that he perceives things. And a lot of times he just says things that I don't appreciate. And you don't have control over other people or what they say or do or how they think, right? So I can say that I'm incredibly happy for Neville Goddard's teachings, but more importantly, because of the way that these teachings have been assimilated and broken down and put forth by Edward Art Supply Hands, because that series is so rich and so incredibly helpful to me, because I know that if I just get away from the activated momentum of my intense feelings, I will begin to feel better. It will turn me around. It will help me refocus. But a lot of times I want to sit stewing in my justified anger because I want to be right and I want to feel like, I don't know, I guess I want to feel pain and suffering because that's typically what I feel when I'm sitting and stewing in my justified anger or resentment. So I wanted to make this video because I'm not the only person on this planet going through this stuff. I'm certainly not the only person whose partner has Asperger's and are dealing with all different manners of behavioral traits and things that don't always feel good. And in a lot of ways, him having Asperger's has been an incredible blessing to me because I've had to completely take responsibility for my own emotions and regulating my own emotional, how I'm feeling, how I'm choosing to feel, what my focus is. You know, it's always up to me. I can't sit and blame him because that does no good. It literally doesn't change anything. So I don't want to leave the relationship because it's a good relationship. And he's a good person. He's a good man, but there are times when I feel really pained because of the low empathy and the mind blindness and the lack of reciprocity at times. And no doubt he is working on things. I'm lucky because there are a lot of people who have Asperger's, and I've read other people's. I've joined a support group, and some of it is just completely devastating. That what people are going through in their relationships, and they don't have the Edward Art Supply hands or Neville Goddard or any of the other countless spiritual kinds of supports that I feel I have to draw on when I'm done being pissed. So, I'm using my experience as a way to find my clarity and not let it not let the interactions that seem negative on the surface drive me to being in a state that I don't want to be in. Like angry, bitter, resentful. I don't want to be in those for very long. So that's why I'm talking about this, because it's definitely strengthened my focus and helped make me more resilient because I don't give up. I don't sit in a state of hopelessness or victimhood or any of those things. I tend not to hang on to blame and resentment in the same ways that I would have before finding these these teachings. And So I'm doing this because I think it's important to have an open dialogue about it. It's not always perfect. I'm not always waking up feeling like I've got rainbows and sunshine shooting out my ass. I genuinely have volatile human emotions that make me want to rip my hair out at times and just be like, oh, and it really doesn't feel good. But at the same time, to honor how I'm feeling and not just push it aside, if I can use that to help me focus on what I do want, it always bears fruit. It always comes with something more than what I initially experienced concerning what I don't want. So, and it does strengthen my focus towards what I do want, and I am grateful and I do appreciate that. It's exhausting sometimes, and it is sometimes frustrating when I don't stop myself and focus where I know I will find relief. Sometimes it feels like I want to suffer and I want to be right in my suffering and justified, but it doesn't feel good, and I don't like doing it for long. And I typically don't do it for too long because of those reasons. I do prefer feeling better and finding a way that allows me to adjust my focus so that the next time it's less. I'm able to glean things. And so my cat, if you can hear that, my cat's trying to get out. I'm going to take you with me and let my cat out real quick because she is not going to quit digging. Yes, I know, baby. Come on. Out you go. Oops. It's always an adventure, right? So I wrote down some notes because I felt like I stewed longer than I wanted to, but obviously I stewed as long as I needed to. And I listened to some more Edward Art Supply Hands because reasons, right? It helps. So I made some notes because when I write, it always kind of brings me some clarity towards what I'm wanting. And I'd like to read some of this to you because it may help you. I don't know. It helped me feel better. So when I'm hurt or upset about my partner or anyone or anything that's outside of my control, I'm identifying with the false self. The pain body arises and activates enough momentum that I will suffer. By reverting my full focus and attention to the false narrative, that's where the suffering seems to really get amplified and activated, is because I've given my attention fully to the false narrative, the thing that someone or something, and I'm having a reaction to it that doesn't feel good. That's number one. That's how I always know that it's not really, it's not my true self. So I'll go on. Unconditional love has no need to feel justified anger. It has no need to feel justified anger because that is an illusion. it's a trick of the false self to give attention only to the inner self is unconditional love. The inner self, when given unconditional, allowing, love, acceptance, focus, and attention, always activates within you a feeling of well-being, contentment, satisfaction, balance, calm. The shift comes with perfect knowing and clarity because you think and feel from and with the true self. Your inner beingness. This is the state of grace. Who you are is grace. Allow your true self to receive your preferences, and ease comes into dominate active momentum, or a dominant feeling, and it activates the momentum of that focus. So balance means putting all challenges up to the light of truth. Truth melts all false perspectives and leaves only unconditional love. So, I wrote that. I don't know. It just kind of flowed out. It's like how my inner being connects with me and expresses itself. How the true self communicates with me. And when I get off my high horse and I stop beating the drum of I need to be right, I'm offended, I'm wounded, I'm hurt that you said this, I'm angry, I'm all those things, I'm justified in my anger towards you, because you're being a not so nice person towards me. Those things are all echoes of the false self trying to establish its energy, its dominantness, because it's not who I truly am. So it has to use volatile means to gain access to my focus and my attention. And it's pretty good at doing that. That's why people will say things like, so-and-so really pushes my buttons, or I was in a good mood and then something happened and I was triggered, and all those things. And I get it. I really do get it. It's so easy to say that something outside of you caused you to then react in a way that is defensive and completely justified. But when we listen to Edward Art Supply Hands, and those episodes really break it down so that that that's not the truth, and that staying in a momentum where you're blaming someone or something else, that's not really going to help you. And the thing that will really help is choosing what you want, reworking the clay until it's the way you want it to be, instead of beating the drum that you're powerless and that you have no control and that it's a hopeless situation or that nothing's ever going to change and yada, 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 right? So I say these things because this channel is the intent of this channel is to be really honest about how we can take full responsibility and not get stuck in the false self-narrative, but to, align with your true self, with the inner beingness that you are. Because I'm going to have days, moments, however long or short, where I lose my shit and I feel all those things, that I will have intense feelings. None of that matters as much as my commitment to always coming back to my balance, to my center, and holding whatever it is that I was trying to use as an excuse or as a reason to stay in a limited, like Abraham Hicks said, people will fight for their limitations. They will fight tooth and nail to stay small. But that only serves you in so much as you use that as a stepping stone to practice your true self-intention. And that's when everything shifts and you find yourself less and less in those kinds of experiences. So sometimes it's like when you're making the most profound breakthroughs and you're gleaning these really massive, moments of clarity that in a day or two or 3 or 4 later, something will happen and you will be ready to just be like, really? What the hell? Right? But that is such a golden opportunity to hold whatever that is up to the light of truth. Because the light of truth will always illuminate the false self and show you that it's nothing. It's not real. And knowing that makes it easier to move forward and to embrace what your true heart is about. Because anybody who's on this particular path, they don't want to struggle and suffer for long, because you've tasted how beautiful the generous present moment is, and how good it feels to have. I don't even know how to describe it. To me, it's more peaceful than having peace inside of you. It's like when you fully feel the truth of you, of your own true beingness. That's more than just feeling peaceful. Peaceful is certainly a part of it. Feeling calm, feeling satisfied, feeling at ease. Just this inner knowing that doesn't rely on anything outside of you to feel that way. And I love that feeling. I enjoy it. I'm mostly connected to that feeling more often than not. So it makes me less inclined to stay uh, in a feeling state that feels more intense, volatile, intense, whatever you want to call it. Just, it doesn't feel good, and those states definitely serve a purpose, but they're to move through. Like I said, they're a stepping stone to help you more fully choose what it is that you do want. Because that really seems to be our only job, is to choose what you want and then to give that your attention, right? And then the universe, the unseen world, puts together all the cooperative components to make things in your life happen in ways that you can't do that on your own. You can definitely step in that direction, but there are things that have happened in my life that I could never have conceived of how to even, it wouldn't have occurred to me, or I just wasn't privy to information, but that didn't stop the universe from just putting it right there in my lap and saying, hey, try this on for size, right? And I'm okay with that, because I don't have to be in control of every little thing that the universe does. I just need to be in control of every little thing, that I have control over. So I hope this video struck a chord with you. I certainly hope that a couple of days of intense, not so great feels on my part have helped, because I've been willing to open up and share and be vulnerable and have a dialogue with you about this, because I feel like it's important to share, but not to dwell or keep a momentum of a false focus going, It should always lead back to what it is. What do you want? And what I want is always to be feeling that alignment with my inner beingness, because that's when I feel like everything is right in the world, in my life, in every cell of my being. I know how that feels, and I really like that feeling. So if you want to leave a comment or share, please feel free. Like, subscribe, share if you want to, because it will help the algorithms that I guess the internet gods need for things to get out there to people. And I would like for other people to join in on this conversation and be a part of what it means to be on this particular path, and how people are utilizing these tools. How are you navigating your moments where you are having intense contrast? I'm interested. I really am. I would love to know what helps you, and or at the very least, what are you gleaning from it? Because I think that helps us all. And thank you so much for your time. May you be well, and until we talk again,